Hello, my name is Sophia Robles, and in this video I'm going to show you how I implemented the slowly changing dimensions, or SCD, using Pentaho data integration. Okay, so getting into the actual demonstration, I'm going to start with the type 1 or first SCD transformation. This is going to be the simplest of the three just because we're layering with each transformation. So in this one specifically, when the data changes, I'm just going to rewrite or overwrite the older values. So I'm right here in the PDI interface or canvas, and you can see here that I have two steps, starting with the Microsoft Excel input. So I'm going to click into this. So I used the provided product source Excel file. Just a note, I don't know if it was my PDI or maybe it was me, but my transformation would not read the newer Excel file format. So it's the same exact file, I just converted it to the 2004 or older Excel version, and it seemed to read my data fine when I did that. So just noting that. But this input is configured. You can see here in the fields tab that it's configured to read the product ID, name, category, brand size, transaction date, and so forth. So I'm going to click out of this, and you can see that this points directly into the table output icon. So clicking on that, you can see here that this connects to the MySQL database. I just named it Assignment2. Not very creative, but there you go. And then this targets the table product type 1 within the database. And then you can see here that I have the truncate table box checked, and that's just for the destructive load functionality. So each time the transformation runs, it's going to completely clear the table before loading fresh data. So I'm going to actually run this transformation, so you can see this in action. Running here, and then you can see here it did not have any visible errors. It seems to have run correctly. So I'm going to switch over here to Table Plus, and then you can see here I'm just pulling up this table and running it just to verify. So you can see here that all these product records are loaded. So now we can demonstrate the type 1 behavior by making a change and then reloading. So I'm going to come over here to the original Excel file. As you can see, older format, just because my PDI wouldn't read the new format. I'm going to change just this first option here, and I'm going to change the price. I'm just going to put a 1 in front of it, so now it's $19.99, and then I'll save the price here. I just saved that, and then I'm going to come back over to PDI and run the transformation again. So running, you can see here the transformation has finished. So now we can go back over to Table Plus and run the query again. I'm going to run that, and then you can see here that the product ID number 101 or widget A price has changed to $19.99, and that older value is completely gone. So we have no history of that previous price. Okay, so now looking at the second transformation, or type 2 SCD, I am going to completely preserve the history of changes. So this is very similar to the first transformation I did. I'm just also tracking version history and then the effective date of that change. So you can see here I have the same Excel input. I'm using that the provided file. I just also converted it to it's the same exact file. So it was converted to the 2004 version of Excel. And then you can see here that this points to the dimension lookup update icon. So I'm going to click into this. So you can see at the top that this connects to the product type 2 table. And this just has a few extra columns for version control. So things like the effective date, end date, whether it's a current active record, and then also just version number. So you can see here that I have in the keys tab, I use product ID just as the business key for lookups, and then coming here into the fields key tab, you can see that I mapped all of the attributes and then just set price and category as update fields. So that means it'll trigger, or these will trigger when there are new versions. And then coming down here, you can see in the technical field pane, I defined the version controls, being product key is the surrogate key, and then version number for versioning, and then just also down here at the bottom, I have the date range fields. Okay, so now we can just run the actual transformation. I'll click OK here, and then run. And then we can switch over, you can see that ran clearly, so I'm going to switch over to Table Plus and then just run this query that I had queued up. So you can see all the prices, and then the time stamp of effective date, and then I'm going to switch over to the Excel file and change the price. So I'm just going to add a 2 since we're on the second demo, and then save that. Oops. So I'll save the file and then switch back over to PDI. So now you can see here that I'm just going to run the transformation again after updating that Excel file, and then we can come over here to Table Plus and then run this query to see the change. You can see, well, I've run this a few times, but you can see here that price update, that being the 4th version, and you can see the price change to $29.99 for widget A. So there you can see the complete history preservation. We can track exactly when that price changed, and then what the previous versions were or values, and then just see the evolution of that over time because you saw the complete history. So that just maintains a comprehensive snapshot of the data and just seeing where everything existed at the given point in times. Okay, so now coming here into the 3rd transformation, this being the hybrid approach, this combines the first 2 strategies I used. This mainly just differentiating in how attributes are handled. So structurally, I would say looks the same, if not identical. I use the exact same Excel input. You can see here, same Excel file and everything. I'll click out of that. That feeds into the dimension lookup update icon, which I also use in the 2nd transformation. What's different here is in the field section, I made all of these flexible to be updated. So product name, category, brand, price, and size. And then a transaction date, I just left stagnant because dates would not change when it was updated. And so now we can actually just run this transformation. I'll click out of that. So you can see it ran without any visible errors. And then I'm going to come over here to Table Plus just to run the initial load. So run current, you can see there, complete history. And then I'm going to come over here to the Excel file, and I'm going to switch the price, and I'm just going to use the number so we can tell quickly, and then I'm just going to rename this to Sophia. So I'll save that, and then I'm going to come back over to PDI, run the transformation again. So you can see that ran without any visible errors. And then I'm going to switch back over here to Table Plus. I just had this query queued up, so I'll run that. And then you can see here everything updated correctly. You can see that's fourth version. I renamed it to Sophia, so you can see those earlier versions we ran. So you can see there, product name changed, and then the price change also created that new version. But you can see here that the type 1 fields get updated across versions, but the type 2 remained stagnant or preserved that history. So you can see the duality there. Okay, so coming over here, I'm just going to run a final side-by-side comparison just to see how each type handled the same, or just differentiating data changes. So you can see here, I just ran this query that I had queued up. You can see that the type 1s have only current values but no history, and then the type 2s have a complete history but multiple versions, and then the hybrid just has a more selective history, that being just to balance, like in a real world situation, that might be like a balance of storage efficiency or just understanding like analytics for trend tracking. So you can see there I implemented all of the changes successfully using PDI, and then I also showed the destructive loading capabilities, and then showing how each transformation handled data changes differently. So I'll end the video here, but thank you very much for watching.